Welcome to Thick Boy Fight News. Let's dive in. Bo Nickal earned a UFC contract last night after a dominating submission victory on his second appearance on Dana White's Contender Series. Nickal finished the bout within a minute of the fight starting and called out Khamzat Chimaev and poked fun at his ability to make weight. At the post-fight press conference, Nickal said he was serious about fighting Chimaev, but admitted it may not be an immediate fight the UFC makes. Video courtesy of the Mac Life.
I feel like that's a good matchup for me. He's obviously a high-level grappler, a high-level fighter. He's one of the top fighters in not only in his division but in the UFC. So I have a lot of respect for his skills, but I also know what I'm about. So yeah, at some point I'm making my UFC debut, right? Like, he's probably fighting for the title soon. So am I going to get that fight? Probably not, but I'm ready to go, and it will happen in the future, and I'll be more than prepared then.
Dana White came away from the event more than impressed with Nickal and told reporters that if there were only one fighter he could sign from this season of the Contender Series, it would be Nickal. White did, however, pump the brakes on the Chimaev talk and explain the process of building up a prospect in the UFC. Video courtesy of the Mac Life.
No, you don't test him against ranked talent. You bring him in just like you would bring in any prospect. And you build him up, give him fights. And the problem is that there's no easy fights here. So this isn't like the boxing model, but he walked into a show where there's no easy fights. Everybody here are killers. So if you perform the way that you performed here twice, there's some guys that come in here and it's a rough go. There's wars, and they'll squeak out a win or pull off a win at the end or whatever. This guy came in and dominated twice.
Frank Mir joined the Thick Boy Fight News team and spoke about One Championship's focus on grappling-only bouts. This Friday, One will have its first ever grappling-only title bout when Mike Musumeci faces Kleber Sousa for flyweight submission grappling gold. The bout will take place during prime time for North American audiences on Prime Video, and Mir spoke about how important it is for the sport to be given such a big platform.
I love that jiu-jitsu is getting a much bigger platform and exposure, especially since the grappling arts in itself. Look, wrestling is probably the most popular one as far as, especially North America. We almost lost them out of the Olympics there a couple years back. So I love the turnaround in it, the exposure they're getting, and look, and the fact jiu-jitsu is big right now. I think to top that, it's Gordon Ryan. The guy has really put it on the map. I think this last ADC proved that when you saw him go out there and perform. And so I think that now with the momentum that he's created in the sport, hopefully that can, trickle off, and a lot more guys are getting exposure that are also excellent grapplers and can bring a lot of love to the sport.
Earlier this week, it was revealed Conor McGregor is the only active fighter on the UFC roster not to be tested by USADA this year. The news raised the eyebrows of many in the MMA world, and some even believe this is evidence Conor McGregor is on performance-enhancing drugs. Henry Cejudo took to his YouTube channel to blast McGregor and said that steroids won't help him. He's on that privilege list. That's crazy. Those are the things to bring up. That's crazy. But roids are not going to help Conor. Of course he's on that shit knowing that he hasn't been tested this year, but it ain't going to help him. The dude needs to stay away from coke. That's what he needs to do. Looking for more original MMA content? Check out the rest of Thick Boy YouTube. Exclusive interviews, opinion, and fight analysis is available weekly on The Shab Show, Food Truck Diaries, and Fight Night Flashbacks. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the action.